It's a really, really great place to live.
A quaint neighborhood off South Main Street in Harrisonburg, fighting.
There aren't many of these left.
To keep the status quo.
Doing something that would jeopardize the ability of that to continue when it's already so scarce in this city is, in my opinion, really detrimental to our overall well-being as a community.
But the posted signs indicate change could be coming soon.
The land along South Main Street is zoned R3, or medium density residential, approved for anything residential other than apartments. The lots by Edgelon Drive are zoned R1, or low density residential, for regular single family homes. People here, well, they're worried about what could happen to this land if it's rezoned as R5, or high density residential.
The landowner is requesting the rezoning to build a commercial space with residential apartments above. Neighbors speaking out against it in last night's city council meeting.
It's just something of a balancing act.
Vice Mayor Richard Boss says he sees both sides of the argument, making the decision a tough one for council.
We don't have a crystal ball. It would be great if we have a crystal ball and we could play out the two scenarios and peer into it and see which one works out better.
The vote was tabled until August 22nd. In the meantime, Keith Grant and his neighbors are keeping their hopes up for a compromise.
This is a really unique opportunity for representatives of a neighborhood to sit down with a developer as well as representatives of the city to talk about what we can do with this space that would be of benefit to all three parties. My neighborhood recognizes that this is probably a much better outcome than we were expecting from this process.
After 3 months of trying to keep their neighborhood free from potential student housing.
Development is not just about what the developers want, but it's also about the people immediately surrounding it that impacts.
Keith Grant and his neighbors are now believers and the benefit of starting a conversation.
Aye. Councilmember Byrd?
Aye.
Mayor Reed? Aye.
Plans were approved in last night's city council meeting to rezone the land along Weaver Avenue and Edgelon Drive for a 22-unit apartment building not intended for students, with commercial property on the first level. A plan that has evolved with input not only from the neighbors, but the developer and council as well.
It took a lot to at least get to that point where you could sit down and talk about it, and I think something good is coming out of it.
As a part of that compromise, 2 lots were left off the rezoning plans, and the developer will build a fence here along Edgelon Drive.
Giles Stone, the owner and developer of the property, says he respects the people of the neighborhood and was happy to listen to their concerns. An atypical relationship, Grant hopes, catches on.
This really could serve as an example for how neighborhoods and developers can work together to find something that's more palatable to the neighborhood while not also standing in the way of needed development.
Calling the process itself the true victory. In Harrisonburg, Victoria Wood, WHSV.